All right, we will call the meeting of the Skagit Public Utility District Board of Commissioners to order for September 26th, 2023. The time is 4:30. If you would join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, so at this time, I would entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda items 1 through 5.
I motion to approve consent agenda items 1 through 5.
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Opposed? Consent agenda is adopted. Next up, audience comments. Looking around the room, it's all staff here tonight. If you're on Zoom, go ahead and use the raise your hand function, but it looks like we are all staff there as well. So at this time, we will move on to the general manager's report. George.
All right, thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. Yeah, this meeting is probably going to be fairly quick, so I'll give a brief update. The water workshop is starting tomorrow until Friday over in Squim. There's a large contingent from Skagit that's going to be attending, so you got a detailed agenda update from Lena, I think yesterday or the day before, that had all the staff and all the stuff that we were missing from before. So I think we have staff presenting at basically every session. So that's what's going on there this week. We're preparing for budget season next month. So October 10th is our budget hearing, and the board should receive the draft budget next week in preparation for that. So the hearing will be on the 10th, and then you should already have on your calendar the first work session on the 17th at 4:30. And then our next regular meeting's on the 24th, but we're going to have a work session before that meeting at 2:30. So that should all be on your calendar already. Last week, we had our first work group meeting for broadband. Commissioner Miller was there. I went, and Alistair came as well, representing the PUD, and there was staff from the port, and Commissioner Janicki was there as well. So you can add whatever you want, Commissioner, but I thought it was a productive meeting. There were some specific action items, and we're going to meet next month.
It is a great meeting to sit in the back. Well, we get to sit at the table and say, you should do more of this. It's almost like this unfunded payback thing where we get to tell other people how they should pick the slack, which is not unfiltered. But it was great. No, it was actually really because Commissioner Janicki just wanted to hear how we got here, where we're going, and what the county needs to do specifically, and then to be another elected official at the table to say, hey, here's let's quit screwing around and get to go. Was good.
Who was the port commissioner? Did they have
The port commissioner wasn't able to make it.
Okay.
It was Commissioner Hall, right?
Yeah,
Okay. Yeah,
he missed it, but
he wasn't there.
yeah, so this and I and Sarah, and it was and George and Alistair. It was really good because Commissioner Janicki kind of wanted the 30,000 foot, but then she really wanted to get to who needs to do what differently and how fast and how can we attach, and then I had the unique opportunity of saying, and oh, by the way, you should attach 0.09 stipulations and stuff like that. So we're not reinvesting.
Yeah.
And so that in that way, it was probably one of the better meetings that I've been a part of in terms of where I actually came out of thinking there's going to be a positive change at the end of this. So
I think her influence will really help move the ball forward if we can get the cities involved.
that's the power of the purse. I just kept telling her, like, well, you're funding it, you can tell them, or don't fund it, you can tell them. I mean, we're from I said with our authorities and expertise and energy behind it, we're happy to continue to point at people who should be doing a better job, and encourage them to do so. So
yeah.
That's good.
Good first meeting, and we'll continue. There's 2 more meetings set up for this year. Couple of other specific things that are going on. Mark did a building update this afternoon. So I forwarded that to each of you as well. update on what's going on over there. They're got the fill in place and they're working on rebar and the foundations, but the video is pretty cool. Shows the excavations that they're doing inside the foundation. So it's moving along, which is good. And then it's in the information section again, but an update on the power transformer. Signed one more task work order since the last meeting, which was for the installation of the transformer. So the good news is it was delivered and set in place last Friday. So we got it ahead of schedule, which is really great. And as of this afternoon, Kurt said that by next Tuesday, it should be ready to be started up. So that's quite a bit ahead of schedule. So that's really nice to have that in place.
Probably just as we're ready to open the diversions.
Yes, the timing doesn't quite work out, but that's okay. So that has gone well. We got the delivery early. It got installed, or it's getting installed right now. We don't foresee any issues. And then just a summary for you. So total cost to date, and these are all KVA costs for all of their work, is $631,000. So that's where we're at right now. And that should get us through installation, all those costs, and then just whatever we need to do on the end of that.
And they also decommissioned the old one along.
That was
with
included in their scope, yeah. There's a containment that we have to build around the transformer, so that we'll have to figure that out as well. But as far as KVA scope, we've got it all done and they should hopefully be wrapped up next week. Good news, and then, yeah, we can, well, if everything goes well, we can declare the emergency over, then it's in place. And that's all I got. In case there's any questions.
Very good.
Right.
So moving on to, it's like Kevin is going to give us an update on community relations.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
So we've been pretty busy with community relations since my last update back in mid-June, and we're rolling right into fall. So I'll get started with some of my outreach efforts. And first off, we continue to connect with our elected officials. Back on August 10th, we hosted Mount Vernon City Council member Juan Morales and Burlington City Council member James Stavig for a tour up at Gilligan Creek, Judy Reservoir, and the water treatment plant. And the council members had a lot of good questions, and they seemed really appreciative of the tour. And even though we just had the two, it seemed like a very valuable way to make those connections. So that was valuable. Then as for other tours, on October 11th, we will be hosting a group of about 30 after-school students from the Boys and Girls Club for a tour of Judy Reservoir. We'll also have had inquiries from the Conway School District for tours this fall. So they're starting to pick up for the school year. And the Thirst Buster was back on the road with a 4-day stint, not a 4-year, 4-day stint at the Skagit County Fair in August. We had a lot of positive feedback, including some social media posts out there and some good exposure from our participation. You know, keeping the Thirst Buster clean at these events is really important. And each morning I would stop by the fairgrounds and disinfect the trailer, and there's always usually something very interesting in the drains and trying to keep them clean. So we also experienced a couple of fixture failures that happened because the Thirst Buster had been mothballed for almost 4 years. So, but our mechanics Wes and our electrician Casey, they came to the rescue and made some emergency repairs. So it's up and running really well now. And that moves us to the next one, where we were on September 9th. Thirst Buster was set up at a rest area for the MS Deception Pass Classic. Customer service supervisor Sharon Mataya, she helped run a rest stop along the route at the Swinomish Reservation. And Sharon shared an email that she received from the National MS Society that I'll quote. Said, over 900 cyclists passed through the rest stop on Saturday, and I'm confident that they all appreciated it. Many, many thanks to you and Skagit PED for making this possible. We'd love to have it again next year, if at all possible. And so additional comments that MS shared that they had received, that one was the Thirst Buster was very needed with such a large group at one time. kudos to Spud, triple exclamation point, and the Thirst Buster was a great addition. So a lot of love going around for the Thirst Buster. So it's going really well. And then this Saturday, the Thirst Buster and me will be at the Skagit Farm to Pint Fest from 1 to 6 p.m. at the LaConner Marina. There'll be music, food, and of course, beer. And so I have a VIP pass for each of the commissioners if you are interested in going. And Skagit PEDs help sponsoring the event. And then on Sunday, the Thirst Buster will be back at it really early. We're helping to hydrate runners at the Skagit Flats Marathon. And we'll be at the start and finish line at the Burlington High School from 6:30 in the morning to about 2:15 in the afternoon. So long day there. And so the Thirst Buster has definitely drawn a lot of attention. Had to turn down a request for this weekend for the Skagit Bigfoot Fest, and because we were all booked up. And it's the Thirst Buster is becoming a pretty good ambassador for the district. I know people are truly appreciative of all the cold water that they're able to get at these events. And it also speaks to our environmental stewardship that we're helping reduce waste from single-use water bottles like these. So pretty cool. So our earned media up next. We continue to gain positive news coverage. We've had front page stories about our collaborative efforts with the port on SkagitNet to help bring broadband to rural Skagit County residents, the PU's efforts to help farmers get water during the declared drought this summer, notification to our customers about the Skagit River diversion being offline, and then coverage of our new admin building, the groundbreaking ceremony. So all good stuff there. And then our new website, it went live on June 29th, as you know. It seems to be performing well, no customer complaints or issues. The new website has more capabilities than our previous versions and offers better user experience for our customers. I'm working on taking our existing forms and developing web forms that will allow many of our processes to be streamlined and providing a higher quality of service. For example, for creating like online landlord agreements, leak adjustment, credit applications, be able to reserve the Aqua Room online, and all these will be through our new website. So, and then last but not least, we have the customer satisfaction survey. To measure all our efforts and how they're playing out with our customers, starting last Wednesday, September 20th, and wrapping up tonight, DHM Research is fielding a hybrid customer satisfaction survey. They're doing random sampling of 400 residential customers, similar to our 29 baseline survey. And participants are being contacted by landline, cell phone, email, and SMS message. And the margin of error for the survey is plus or minus 4.9%.
How many customers you say there were?
400. So it's a scientific representative sample.
I got one.
Did you? Did you answer it?
And like 5 other people I know have gotten
Okay. Did you?
it. So that's why I wonder if it was.
Targeted.
400. I did mine,
Did you?
Yeah.
You didn't? Okay. Okay. How did we do?
100%.
Yeah, there are quotas. They're set by age and gender to ensure representative
I don't know.
sample. So
So they probably sent out more than 400 maybe or something.
the goal was to get 400.
Okay.
And so they had at least 280 by Monday morning, and they started last week, so they didn't do it over the weekend. So they've also been able to, they've translated the survey into Spanish, so we've also been able to get some Spanish responses. And so there's the survey link is, 35 questions, so it took you what, 10 minutes maybe?
Yeah, if that.
Yeah.
They're looking for 400 responses, but
Responses.
they make a
But
lot
they-
more requests.
Correct.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's what I was getting, yeah.
not everybody responds.
Not
Not everybody has
everyone
10 minutes.
completely, yeah.
Once they hit the 400, they'll stop inquiring essentially.
Yeah.
As long as they've.
If
fit
they've got the
this many-
mix, if they got the right gender, the right
Okay,
age group, if they've hit all their areas.
and how often do we do this? Once every 3?
But the last one was in 2019.
Okay,
So this is this is our follow-up to that. And so we didn't do it during COVID. We thought this would be a good time to do it again, be coming out and seeing how things go. So we conducted in fall, the same time in 2019.
Okay.
Yeah. So we should have our top line results on October 3rd, which is like the aggregated sample for specific questions, and then a full report on the 17th of October. And that is it.
All right,
Any other questions about the survey or anything else I present?
Yeah.
Okay. Anybody wanna, like VIP pass to go drink some beer?
I'll probably take you up on that.
I
Gonna
mean,
be-
and food, I mean.
I'm gonna be camping at Bayview, so I might buzz
You're
down
in
there.
the neighborhood, yeah.
Yeah,
I won't be here, so feel free to give mine to deserving.
I'll email you if I'm back in town from the east side by then.
Okay, okay, cool.
Thank you, Kevin.
Welcome.
It's like
Thank you,
Alistair
Kevin.
had his hand. I mean, you probably need.
Yeah,
to drink
Alistair.
After sitting through that meeting with me last week about the broadband here. Have one on me.
Yeah, there's 16 breweries there. And you get 2-ounce pours, so that's, you do the math, how much beer that is. Plus food to pair with that.
Yeah.
So you need a ride there, is the point. And back.
In fact,
all right, so item number 8. Back up here. Yeah, is a new policy, 1017, safety and security at water treatment plants, controlled facilities. Looks like Jay is gonna take us through this.
I'm just gonna introduce this for a second, just for the benefit of our commissioners. So especially Commissioner Hamburg, first time going through this probably. So our usual practice is to present policies to the board under new business like we're doing right now. And it's presented as an action, but there's an option. The option is to take action if there's no questions or concerns about the policy. You can move and we can approve the policy tonight. Typically what we've done is introduce it, discuss it. If we need to, talk about it, and then just sit on it for 2 weeks, wait for the next meeting, and then put it in the consent agenda for the next meeting. So
Okay.
we've done it both ways. We just always present it as it's an action if you want to take action, but we don't necessarily have to.
Okay.
So this policy isn't new, it's cleanup of an old policy. It's going to introduce a new safety practice and procedure in the coming weeks. And so, yeah, depends on any questions you have, but Jay will give you the details.
Good evening.
maybe.
So, new policy 1017 is a foray into having an actual, what really amounts to being our first physical security policy. The whole concept behind it is to provide, employee, contractor, and also, visitor accountability when we have people who are up at our water treatment plant and also its related facilities. It is there to make sure that our operators know who's in those areas. And also hopefully when they're when they leave the area, so if they finish work or they finish a tour, or they finish doing something there. It also helps line out to those who are visiting those facilities, what hazards actually exist up there that are extraordinary, because it is an area of extraordinary industrial hazard. So this helps set the tone for what kind of a facility it is. So that is most of the goal with that. And it also represents the treatment plant and its related facilities because they're critical infrastructure. It speaks to the security for those as well to some degree. So it's a starting point for us to actually have something set in writing that gives us a place to a solid platform from which to stand. So that is the goal of 1017 in a nutshell. And then existing in policy 1017's place right now is an older policy that dealt with using cold liquids and ice during the summertime, which it was basically a letter written by the then general manager, and it was promulgated as policy. So in addition to adopting this as policy, it would also have to be concurrent with a repeal and a superseding of the existing 1017 policy. Those heat stress measures will be covered in a future SPMP written about outdoor environmental exposures. It's going to be written by my department. So I'm here for questions if you have any.
Is there a reason, is there a reason instead of just continuing the numbering that we're replacing one instead of renumbering something different?
Don't want the numbers of policies that we have to be astronomical,
Yeah.
and it made sense to recycle this one since it seems superfluous.
Okay. And then as far as visitors go, I see minors must have signed release. is that something before, like when we do tours, that the students have to have, in order to go on the field trip, have to have the releases pre-signed and returned to us prior to the field trip?
That is, yes, correct.
Are we
Yes.
have we done that in the past?
We have not done it in the past, but we actually have already started, I believe, Kevin.
The October 11th, we're with
Okay.
have.
So we're already practicing what's in the policy as it stands.
Yeah, staff has been practicing it for a number of months,
Yeah.
actually, just to get used to it and to kind of work out the kinks. And to see if it was a reasonable thing to ask for people to do and for the operators to manage. So once we realized that we're in a good spot, it made sense to turn it into policy.
I think it's a great thing. Keep it up. I mean, it really is just manifest the culture of safety and security that you're continuing to cultivate. Keep it up.
I like the having contractor safety orientation too. In the industry, every contractor has a different.
They do.
You never know, so I like having them review your policy and before coming and doing work on site. Just to know the expectations and that they need to follow their own and our lockout, tag out or lock
Right.
protection. So I like that that's included.
Thank you for the feedback. Appreciate it.
Yeah, if everybody's comfortable with it, we can entertain a motion at this time.
I would move that we authorize the general manager to sign and adopt new policy 1017 safety and security at WTP controlled facilities and to supersede and cancel existing policy 1017 ice and liquids during the summer.
And I second.
Motion is second, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, that is adopted.
I do
Thank you,
have a
Commissioner.
quick follow-up question. I know I saw a mention of future, maybe electronic access and logging capabilities. Is that something with the new building that we plan on incorporating over with the new building? I don't know, we have key cards here now
Mhm.
and
We're trying to think of an electronic solution. We haven't landed on anything yet, but
Okay.
Alistair and Jay have been exploring different options. Nothing has come to the surface yet that's simple and easy.
that isn't a lot of rewiring.
It is definitely, Alistair and I have talked about this and Mike as well. It is definitely in the hopper. We're not going to forget about it. It's something we're looking to the building before we decide what we do with our existing facilities in a lot of cases. So, yeah, it's definitely something we're considering. Thank you. Appreciate your time,
Thank you, Jay.
Commissioners. Thank you.
All right, so we have some informational items in there. We touched on the diversion power transformer replacements. Got the usual monthly budget status and Judy Reservoir reports. Any commissioner comments this evening?
Not for me.
None? I have nothing for you. So at this time, we will convene an executive session to review the performance of a public employee per RCW 42.30.110, approximate time 20 minutes, no action after.
5:15. So you have to stay.
So we will
Reconvene at 5:15.
reconvene at 5:15 PM.